let's talk about my final point. And this is the one that quite honestly is still hard for me to believe because of the scale of the number. And you'll see this headline right here on screen. And I'll read it for you. Sadiq Khan demands more than £29 billion from our chancellor. And the truth is this. Our current Labour mayor has actually asked for £30 billion more from our government to cover housing and random pop-up policies that he brings out. He's asking for this large amount of money. But the truth is, when we dig into it, we find out that the current mayor has actually not got around to building the subsidized housing that he promised for us almost 5 years ago. And so let's look into what the mayor has actually done when it comes to housing and what he wants for the rest of this £30 billion. And I'm going to go back to Susan Hall again, our conservative commentator, and she works with this man every single day. She's watched what he's done for the past 5 years, and she says, quote, "The government has consistently invested in London and has bailed Sadiq Khan out when Crossrail was repeatedly delayed on his watch and Transport for London went bust. Despite a £4.82 billion investment from ministers, the mayor has failed to build even half of the 116,000 affordable homes he promised by 2022. And when we look into it, after 3 years, our mayor has only started building 34,515 homes. Mrs. Hall goes on to say, quote, "The problem with Sadiq Khan is whenever the government gives him money, he fails to deliver." And she goes on to say, quote, "Londoners expect their mayor to get a good deal from government, but Khan's consistent failure to deliver weakens our city's case." And she finishes by saying this, quote, "Without a mayor that can deliver and work with the government, Khan is depriving our city of future investment." And this is a powerful line that Susan Hall says, and she is right about this. And what the bailout mayor will cost you is this. The incumbent mayor has repeatedly called for more bailouts to cover the mismanagement of his city. And based on the latest data, per person, it is estimated that for every single person in this city, this includes children, by the way, the debt repayment of all of the policies I mentioned, I'm putting this on screen right now. Look at these numbers. They are hard to believe. The Transport for London tube debt in itself comes down to £2,000 per person in this city. That's every single person, including women, children, elderly. The cost of this housing debt that the mayor is asking for and other pop-up policies of the £30 billion is costing each one of our citizens £3,333.33. The total cost to you right now, each individual citizen, is £5,333.33. And that means for a family of five, that's £26,000, 666 and 65 pence. £26,000, 666 and 65 pence. That's what your household needs to pay. And again, I'll ask you this question, will that be cash or card? That is a lot of money that you have to pay, not because of the systems required for government, because of the mismanagement of your elected officials. And that comes to one conclusion that I have, and a lot of you are already putting it out on your comments here, which is this. Our elected leaders are massively underqualified to run the Greater London Authority. They cannot handle a government with a budget of £17 billion. They cannot handle a staff of 27,000 people. When you look at these numbers, if they were a corporation, this would want to be one of the top 10 listed corporations on the London Stock Exchange. And who do we have running it? Somebody with no understanding of business, with no long-term strategy, and with no long-term vision. They have no experience in economics, no experience in management, no experience in leadership, no experience in finance, and no experience in deal-making whatsoever. The current mayor of London has watched the most turbulent period in London history, and he's blown it. He's ruined our finances, from housing, from our police department, from our fire department, to our transportation, to even his own green initiative. He's ruined it, and he's driving this city into the ground. The truth is this: why would we expect this man to be able to run this city? He has no experience. You need someone that has experience in the past 20 years when it comes to finance, when it comes to deal making, when it comes to economics, when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to leadership, and when it comes to management. And that is why I plan on being your next mayor of London. I have experience in all of these aspects. I have run businesses. I worked in the City of London in finance for 10 years. I know how to deal with these projects. I know how to hold people accountable. I know how to balance a budget, and I know how to run something that's fiscally responsible. And I'm not going to ask you as a taxpayer to pay for my failings or the people that work underneath me. What we need is leadership. We need accountability, and we need leaders that stop blaming other people for their own failings. We need people to step up and take ownership for their own failings, and that's what I plan on doing as your next mayor of London. The beauty of me not working for one of the parties in the two-party traditional system is that, first of all, I don't need their approval for my policies. Second of all, I will take the best idea. I don't care if it's a Conservative or Labour or Lib Dem or Green Party. I don't care what it is. I want the best idea that does the best things for the citizens of London, period. So I'm not married to any of these ideas. And also, I am free to be truthful about what happened in the past. I can criticize anyone I want because they're not part of my own party. And I can call out failings of the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, and I can make the right decisions on how we move forward.